Hello everybody and welcome to another video. In this video we are going to be doing episode 2 of the Best of Black Library, a series where I talk about my favourite Black Library books, talk a little bit about them, why you should check them out if you haven't, and generally just nerd out over some really good books. So if that's your thing, grab a brew, get comfortable, and let's get waffling. So in this edition, we're going to go to the number 1 on my list. This is probably one of my favorite Black Library novels. In fact, it's so good, in fact, that when I was in the army, I was sent to Scotland while having a broken wrist for a week on exercise. Couldn't go on exercise and live out in the ground with the guys. That I basically was stuck in camp for 7 days. I don't know why they'd taken me, but they brought me over anyway. And I basically just hung around camp for 7 days. And the only thing that I had was my copy of Storm of Iron. And I pretty much read that like back to back about 3 times over the course of that 7-day exercise. I read it on the bus on the ferry over to Scotland from Northern Ireland, on the transport to the training area, and pretty much finished it that evening, and then pretty much started it again the next day. It's the only book I had, and this was before we had iPhones and internet on our phones and stuff like that. So yeah, the only real entertainment I had in a sort of really weird army camp, not too far away from Faslane and Gaylord Head, which is basically where the Trident submarines hang out, is the book of Storm of Iron, and that was it. And I read it about 3 or 4 times. In fact, near the end of the week, I actually gave my copy to my friend who'd never read a Warhammer book, and he read it in literally a day. So yeah, Storm of Iron. So let's flip over and we'll talk about the Storm of Iron. So the Storm of Iron is basically a bad guy focused book. There's a theme here. And there's not many bad guy focused books when it comes to 40k, and it's written by Graham MvNeil, which he's probably one of my favorite authors when it comes to Black Library. The Storm of Iron is basically, was when it came out, a standalone novel. Now, it is kind of ties into the Ultramarine series by Graham MvNeil, and we will be talking about the Ultramarine series later on in this series of videos, so do not worry. But essentially, it is a story about a company, a great company, multiple companies actually, of a war host, a sort of big army of Iron Warriors that attacks a planet called Hydra Cordres. And it is, everything is in this book. You have got a warsmith, you have got Forax, the captain, you've got Captain Kruger, you've got Honzo the half-breed, who is a really cool character because he is known as the half-breed or the mongrel because he has polluted blood. He has Imperial Fist gene seed in him. And it's basically essentially a book that basically starts off quite cool, with the sort of, from the Imperial Guard's perspective when they face Chaos Space Marines, and it kind of has the Chaos Space Marines and the Imperial Guard. It also has Titans. It has a massive armored assault. It has missiles being launched that are used to target the ground, that are normally used to target spaceships. It has everything in it, and it also has some pretty cool stuff if you don't like Imperial Fists. It's so good. The good thing is, as well, is that it later on does tie into the Ultramarine series with Uriel Ventress, pretty much sort of into the 3rd book of that series, and then later on again in the series as well. It is a cracking read. It is probably got everything you want from a 40k novel. It is gritty, it is dark, it is brutal, and it shows Chaos Space Marines in a very different light. Just like the Wordbearer series, which is in episode 1, and if you haven't watched that yet, you should really go back and watch it. Also, while you're there, you should also hit the subscribe button. You should also like this video, and you should also leave me a comment in the comment below to tell me what books you like and what other books you think I should check out. And if I've already read them, I'll do a video on them. And if I haven't read them, then I'll go and read them. And then if they're really, really good, I'll add them to the series. How's that sound? So yes, Storm of Iron, probably one of my favorite, if not the favorite book of the Black Library. Now, it's a very, very close first. There is another one that is probably just tipped to the post by Storm of Iron, and that is a book called Bleeding Chalice, which is a part of the Soul Drinker series, which we will be covering later on in this series, by Ben Counter. Yeah, that was my first ever book I ever read for the Black Library. I picked it up and not realizing what it was, and realizing it's the second novel in the series, not the first, and then had to rush around trying to find an out of print copy of Soul Drinkers. But we're going to be talking about the Soul Drinkers in a later video, so do not worry about that. Here we're going to be talking about Storm of Iron. So Storm of Iron is pretty much a really, really cool book. It has a lot, like I said, it has everything in it. It has a lot of things that you'll probably, if you've read the Horus Heresy series, you'll probably pick up. Like, there's a very big Titan, Imperator Titan, that is kind of mentioned in Galaxy in Flames and the Battle of Estevan 3, with the Death Guard are fighting the Death Guard and a Titan. That Titan is the Dies Irae. That Titan is also mentioned in Storm of Iron, and it plays a very big role in Storm of Iron, and it's really cool to sort of see, especially later on when we got the Horus Heresy series, like where that Titan started, and then pretty much in the Storm of Iron where it becomes a big chaos demon thing, and it's just so good. The Titans on Titan fighting is really well done, and it's kind of nice because I think back in those days as well, you didn't really get much of it. Like, this is before the day that Dan Abnett did like Titanicus, the sort of the Titan book, and then before we got like Titan Death and stuff like that. So there wasn't really that many Titan on Titan books or Titan on Titan battles in books, and it was really kind of cool to see that we got that. It's also as well, it has some really cool twists and turns, which is really quite nice. I couldn't highly recommend this book enough. I really want to talk about like the story, but I don't really want to spoil it because there are twisty and turnies, and it's really, really cool. But the view of what it's like to be besieged by the Iron Warriors in the 41st millennium is pretty scary, and how absolute callous they are as well. Like, you do not want to be caught prisoner by the Iron Warriors because you're going to be used as cannon fodder, and it's pretty brutal, and there's pretty horrific scenes in the book where obviously these traitor Marines use their captured slaves, I would assume that we should call them, or prisoners of war, to basically sort of work out gun ranges from the walls and clear out minefields and stuff like that. They are pretty savage. Really good at digging holes. I'm sure some of my friends who watch this and mock me for being an Iron Warriors player in 30k will giggle at that. But yeah, the whole depiction as well of the characters, like Thorax is kind of just lost his lust for battle after 10,000 years of fighting, which is really, really cool to sort of see. You also have like Kruger, who is sort of stepping down the path to become a Khorne Berserker, but he's kind of trying to resist the pull of Khorne to completely not turn into a full-on Berserker. Terminators, oh my god, Chaos Terminators, and the way they're described, Havoc Squads, and the way that they're just, there's just so many cool stuff in this book. Like, if you are a fan of Chaos Space Marines, and you haven't read Storm of Iron, what are you doing with your life? Why have you not done it? Get this book now, get it on Audible, go and order it from Black Library, just pick it up from, like, eBay if you have to. Get a copy, have it on your shelf, and read this book. It's so, so good. But yes, highly, highly recommend The Storm of Iron. So that is my favorite book, the number one. We can't get any higher than this. This is my top pick. and it's a classic. Graham MvNeil's Storm of Iron. You should definitely go and check this one out. If you do like the what I'm doing, if you like this content, if you like this series, please let me know in the comments below. That's the best way of telling me. And liking the video is also a good way of showing me that this content is what you want. And obviously subscribe. Subscribing is great. Like, it costs you nothing, but it means so much to the YouTubers. It's not like Twitch where you have to subscribe and give money. No. Here we just want a click of a button and it makes us happy. So, but you can support me in other ways if you want to check out my members area and the patrons as well. You don't have to. I'm not necessarily in need of it, but if you want to do it, you can, and it would be much appreciated. So thank you very much. That is the video. We look forward to episode 3, which will be coming very, very soon. Oh, what shall we do? And I will see you all in the next video. Goodbye for now, people.